If you're looking for a telephoto lens, Canon 70-200, possibly a good place to start. f4, not only the cheapest 70-200 that Canon does, but the cheapest L lens. You can pick them up about 500 quid new and as little as about 300 second hand. Alternatively, Tamron 70-300, a little bit further, f4 to 5.6, so variable aperture, vibration compensation lens, a lot more for your money, maybe. Well, let's compare the two. So size-wise, with the lens hoods off, the Tamron is thicker but a lot shorter, and it fits in my camera bag, which is good. With the lens hoods on, there's not much in it. Of course, the Canon doesn't extend when you zoom. However, the Tamron does extend, and the zoom ring is actually this end, which I find a bit weird because I'm always twisting the focus ring expecting it to be the zoom. The vibration compensation on the Tamron is really quite incredible. It makes it actually a lot more usable than the Canon. Now at 200 it's capable of going to f5, which is 2/3 of a stop less than this, so don't think of it as a whole stop difference for 200mm. It's only at 300mm you go down to f5.6, which is one stop different from that. And remember, one stop doesn't sound like a lot, but it is half the light. Build quality wise, I'd say the Canon has the edge, although the Tamron is not badly built at all. It comes a close second. So I took the 70-200 on holiday with me to see what it could do. I'll run you through some of the shots now. So the colours on this lens are good. It's an L lens, nice punchy colours. Not quite as good as some of the primes like the 135 f2, but it does the job. It's certainly nice and sharp. Skin tones look good. There's my daughter there playing on the beach. She got so dirty. We didn't bring a change of clothes, it was awful. There's a random man reading a book. So I stumbled across a group of hardcore bird watchers here, and they all had massive lenses. Made me feel quite inferior with my 70-200. But I still managed to shoot quite a few birds with the camera, not a gun, obviously. The RSPB don't like that. There's some seagulls. So having been away on holiday with the 70-200, I got a good idea of what it could do, but now I've got the Tamron, so let's head out into London and see what we can get from that. There is my family on the tube. There's my daughter, I was sat opposite her, the tube was bouncing around, 1/60th of a second, the VC held up well. It was absurdly hot and she was racing through the fountains on her scooter. 1/5000th of a second there. Now this lens can't focus too close, so it's not great for macro shots, but I took this picture of a strawberry to show kind of about how far you can get at 300mm. It's not bad. The VC holding up well here at 1/80th of a second, 300mm, it's pin sharp. The man sitting on his own in the Tate. They had this awesome light sculpture going down this whole massive corridor in the Tate. It was really cool. Now, I took this picture to see if the lens would flare at all if I took a picture straight into the sun. It held up quite well. We headed down towards Westminster. There's some police officers. There are a lot of police officers there, obviously. Now this shot really shows quite how close 300mm is. There's the clock face of Big Ben taken down from the street. It's my wife on the tube journey home, 1/60th of a second again. Slower shutter speeds are really not a problem for this lens. Now one thing I will say about the VC is it's very much a tool for photographers, not videographers. Because now I've switched it on, it's holding the image very still. That's great for photos, but if I move the lens around, you'll see that unlike Canon, this actually doesn't move smoothly, it jumps around. Canon image stabilization works quite differently and it works for video quite well. This does not. So be warned if you're a videographer, this is not the lens for you. It is very much a photographer's lens. 70mm, and I'm going to zoom into 300, but it's jiggling around like Beyonce's bottom. I'm going to turn the VC on and steady as a rock. Again, wobbling around, VC on. Awesome. VC off. And VC on. I'm just going to sit here and turn the VC on and off. It's amazing. So just to quickly show you how the vibration compensation works against the Canon, just have a look at these. Now this shot was taken with the Canon at 1/20th of a second. If we zoom in, we can see that really hasn't worked as you would expect at 1/20th of a second and 200mm. So stepping up to 100, again, it sort of worked, but you've got a little bit of motion blur there as you would expect. Now we've managed to eliminate motion blur at 1/200th of a second, but we've had to go to ISO 4000, and that is not an ISO you want to have to go to. The Tamron, on the other hand, absolutely killing it at 1/40th of a second, pin sharp. 1/15th of a second, pretty good, pretty sharp. Not quite as sharp as 1/40th, but perfectly usable. So if you're in the market for a telephoto zoom and you're on a budget, I think the Tamron is a great option. Canon is a little more limited, maybe, but it's important to remember that people move as well as the lens. So if you are shooting at shutter speeds of 1/20th of a second, 1/30th of a second, 1/40th of a second, you're most likely going to get motion blur if you're not taking pictures of stationary objects. But still, I think for the money, the Tamron is a bargain.